Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to the south side of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Highmark Stadium is the site on this Saturday night for the renewal of one of the USL's longest-standing rivalries. It's the Keystone Derby Cup featuring the home-standing Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC against Penn FC. I'm Matt Geico along with Gene Klein. Great to have you with us here on ESPN+. The fans are filing in. It's always interesting between these two opponents, and it was close and interesting in the first matchup of the season, a 0-0 draw on March 31st. Gene, some chances for both sides, but appropriate with the way these two teams have played this season that there were no goals in the first matchup.
Both teams have one of the best organized defenses in the league, Matt. The Hounds with the league-leading 6 clean sheets. Penn FC comes up with 4 clean sheets. It'll be another tight contest tonight. It's going to be who can break the other down first and nick a goal under 2.
There you see the history of the Keystone Derby Cup, established in 2015, although these two teams have been playing each other for 15 years. Pittsburgh won it in 15, Pittsburgh won it in 17 as well, last year going unbeaten. And to boot, Penn FC has not scored in 4 straight contests against their rivals here on the western side of Pennsylvania. Penn FC, formerly known as Harrisburg City Islanders, it's East versus West here tonight. A player to watch for Penn FC, well, they've only scored 6 goals for manager Raul Voss, but 3 of them have come from their big target up front, Tommy Heineman. Gene, he is the big man at the top of the formation.
He's going to be the focal point of their attack, Matt. He's a big guy, 6'4". He's going to be a big target player. They're going to look for him, as we can see here, in the air, and he's quite dangerous there, and the Riverhounds are going to have to be able to make sure they get a body on him and not allow him those free headers.
He has some MLS experience as Heineman. He is dangerous. So is this man, Romeo Parks, part of the USL's Team of the Week after scoring his first goal of the season. At Tampa Bay last Saturday, the Hounds came back from 1-0 down to draw 2-2. He also set up an own goal. Gene, the Hounds need Romeo Parks to contribute if they're going to be successful this
Romeo
season.
Parks, veteran player. We need him. We need him to score. He's stepping in for our leading scorer, Nico Brett, tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how he performs.
So Parks is in there. We'll see the rest of the starting 11 for both sides. For Bob Lilly of the Hounds and Raul Voss of Penn FC, it's matchup number 2 of 3 on the season in the Keystone Derby Cup. Keep it right here.
A lot of clients ask us what makes us different. The first thing that comes to mind for me is Joyce's signature collection. We truly are jewelers. We're passionate about jewelry. We understand the process of making jewelry and what it takes to make the highest quality product at the best value. We travel the world to bring back and create the most unique diamond jewelry collection that you will find anywhere. If you've never shopped Joyce's, I personally invite you to visit our store. I know you're gonna love it.
At Joyce's Jewelry.
Era unleashed at Highmark Stadium, and the Riverhounds are off to their hottest start in team history. May 30th is our annual Military Appreciation Night, when the Hounds battle Nashville SC for a special Wednesday night match at 7 p.m. at Highmark Stadium. Active military and veterans can call 412-865-GO and purchase discounted tickets. Visit riverhounds.com for more information.
I developed some postpartum depression. I noticed that, I wasn't connecting with my daughter as much. I didn't want people to judge me for this.
I'm on the green couch because my wife did not survive her battle with postpartum depression. That's why I work with HN and Highmark, and we're building a safe place for new moms so that other moms like you can find their joy.
Hope for families struggling with postpartum depression is at Allegheny Health Network.
Now, where does it hurt the most when you have it all the way straight?
Down here. It started really hurting, and it would really hurt if I stood on it.
It's a little patellar tendonitis, or jumper's knee is the other thing.
How's that feel?
It feels better.
Call 412
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds are trying to paint it black tonight. It's a blackout, unofficially speaking, here at Highmark Stadium, as the Hounds will debut their alternate kits here for this Keystone Derby Cup matchup. So usually the good guys wear white. Tonight they'll be wearing black, at least in terms of what the hometown fans here in Pittsburgh are cheering for, Penn FC in the white. And we'll look at the Penn FC starting 11. Tommy Heineman, we talked about him in the open. He's right at the top of it. Looking like a 4-4-2, though, from Raul Voss with Franco, Venter, Calvano, the captain, and Hawkins across the back. Dan Metzger, a veteran name in this league. Miguel Jaime, a newcomer there in the defensive midfield. And Richard Menjivar, Aaron Dennis, and Frederick Opoku. Midfielders, one or two may step up to be more of an attacking type of a player, type of a role here this evening. Gene, Penn FC came out with a three-man back line with two wing-backs the first time out. Looks like a change tonight.
Looks like a little bit of a change, maybe even like in a 4-2-3-1 with Hyndman. And again, as we had mentioned in the pregame, up as their main target up front. Certainly Metzger and Miguel Jaime, they're going to be the two key guys in the midfield. Metzger, veteran player, ex-Red Bull guy. He's certainly going to be one that they're going to look to generate the attack.
As for the Riverhounds, starting in goal, I neglected to mention Ramu Peiser, by the way, 38-year-old keeper in net for Penn FC. For the Hounds, they'll go back to Dan Lind for the second time in 3 days. He also played in that U.S. Open Cup loss against Cincinnati. Thomas Bunky Azil is back, the Rookie of the Year candidate, right in the middle of that back line. Pratzner and Roberts. Also centrally located, Connor Maloney, the Loney from Columbus Crew of MLS. He'll be a wing-back, as will Andrew Lubon. Kerr, Zemansky, Goodman, and Francois in the midfield, and there is Parks at the top of it.
Yeah, and I think with a couple of interesting insertions there in the lineup. Connor Maloney, as you mentioned, coming in from the Columbus Crew on loan. And Andrew Lubon, who gave us a little bit of spark on Wednesday versus FC Cincinnati in the U.S. Open Cup. So we're looking to see how they can pick things up. But again, now Parks is going to be the focal point of the attack, and we want to see how he performs, and is he going to generate something. Kerr and Zemansky, the two vets in the midfield, certainly they are going to be keys tonight also.
Bakey Goodman getting his first start in USL play. He played in the U.S. Open Cup 2 weeks ago up in Erie and looked rather dangerous. Curious to see how he fares here in league competition. 23-year-old out of Florida. And on the Hound side as well, some mixing and matching. We're not going to see Dennis Chin, who scored the only goal against Cincinnati. He's still getting back into match form, still getting back into match fitness. Toby Adewale will sit out for the first time as well, at least to start a match. So he's not back there. Jordan Dover, Ray Lee. Plenty of competition in a short span for both teams, really. So the depth will be tested, as we said just a few moments ago. The Riverhounds control it off the opening kick, and they'll go deep here to Kevin Kerr, the captain, who slugs it across the face of goal. Well, actually, it ends up behind the net and out for a goal kick, where Peiser will handle.
Yeah, two other key guys. Also, we look at Canardo Forbes and Joe Holland, who were we've seen a lot of. Canardo Forbes been one of the key guys with Ben Zemansky holding in front of the back line. So, but Bob Lilly has decided to make a couple changes and leaving that sixth spot, that holding midfield spot, pretty much for Zemansky on his own. So it's going to be fun to watch, see what they can do, and again, two stalwart defensive units. What's going to happen to them, and who can get a couple breaks and create some chances.
Just 6 goals on the year for Penn FC. The Hounds have 12. They've given up just 5. That's the lowest total in the USL. And oh, by the way, it took us about 10 minutes to get to it, but the Riverhounds are still the lone unbeaten team in USL, even though it doesn't feel like it after the US Open Cup loss to Cincy right here on Wednesday. And it's out off the Hounds' head.
But I'll tell you, Matt, I know we know these players, and certainly we know Coach Lilly, and they're going to use that to fuel the fire a little bit. And they certainly weren't happy with that performance against FC Cincy on Wednesday. And I'm sure also Penn FC coming off a very tough one against Richmond in their Open Cup loss too. So both teams are going to want to turn it on here and really see if they can come away with 3 points.
Marco Franco will handle this throw for Penn FC. It was a heartbreaker on the road at Richmond in U.S. Open Cup play 3 days ago, as Aaron Dennis can't handle that, and the Hounds get it right back. Penn FC trailed 2-0 at Richmond, but scored a pair of goals. In fact, both came off the toe of Jorge Rivera, who was on the bench today. But Javier Cordova scored the game winner for the Richmond Kickers to move them on to the 4th round. Riverhounds lost 3-1, allowing the first 3 goals of that match here to their River City rival, FC Cincinnati. And by the way, it would have been Minnesota United, the Hounds' opponent, if they could have won last Wednesday. Minnesota United of MLS, one of the newer teams in the league. Bakey Goodman volleys through here as Romeo Parks tries to flag down this aerial. It's the one spot where he has the clear edge over Nico Brett, his height. He's got several inches on his countryman. Brett with 5 goals, but on the bench to start this evening. Penn FC on the counterattack. Bunky is tracking and gets some help here from Hugh Roberts, who steps to. Now Kerr, wearing the captain's armband, plays it square to Goodman behind the midfield stripe. Parks shoved and draws the foul there. No Ken Tribbett, at least to start the match for, I almost called him Harrisburg. They have been Harrisburg for a long time, Penn FC.
Well, it has, you know, you mentioned earlier, it's a long-standing rivalry. And you know, the one thing I was thinking about prior to the game is this rivalry goes back to really 1999, because before, of course, before Penn FC, there's a big
here's a serve in for
Parks.
Can he finish? No, Picer, the sliding save,
so
corner
first
kick.
Corner for the Riverhounds.
You were saying, though, 99.
Well, we're saying that, you know, it was Penn FC. Prior to that, of course, the City Islanders for many years with some really tough games. And then prior to that, it was the Hershey Wildcats. So the first year in 99, the Riverhounds, and some great battles with the Hershey Wildcats. And, of course, I'll finish my thought after this corner.
Here's Kerr sliding it right through and just missing it. Was Parks at the edge of the 6. Hounds can't keep it alive, and it's a Penn FC throw.
Yeah, but the interesting thing going back to those rivalries of '99 when the Riverhounds first started in the old A-League was the head coach of the Hershey Wildcats was a guy by the name of Bob Lilly.
Oh,
so
full circle here
so
on the connection.
Full circle, and this rivalry has all kinds of deep connections. So we're looking forward to continuing and really intensifying.
Bob Lilly, 6 seasons in Rochester prior to this, 2 separate stints, 82, 39, and 51. The man knows how to win in this league. And he's opposed by Raoul Voss, native of Germany, 34 years old, first managing experience here, formerly an assistant with the Tampa Bay Rowdies of NASL. The Hounds' Andrew Lubon, native of Erie, just up the road, will have this throw. Lubon the toss in. Cristiano Francois, the Haitian midfielder, over to Zemansky, and now over to the far side.
LeBon gave us, as we had mentioned, a terrific spark coming in off the bench against FC Cincinnati. He has very good technical ability and also the ability to really serve some dangerous balls into the box. So I'm sure they're going to look for Andy to get up and down the flank and whip some crosses in where hopefully he can find Romeo Parks.
Lubon, formerly a member of the San Francisco Deltas of the NASL, now on hiatus this year. Several of the Penn FC players are also out of the NASL last season. In fact, almost comprised entirely of players of that origin. Kevin Kerr back heels it ahead to himself as he finds some running room. Kerr into the box. Lubon across, and it bounces free. Penn FC did well, in fact, to make that a throw instead of a corner.
Yeah, Pizer almost spilled that one back out, but they were able to clear it for second corner of the game, right?
It actually went out just to our side of the end line. Yeah, they came close to conceding the second corner. Parks stepping in. Romeo Parks looking spry to start. Now Ben Zemansky. Zemansky over to the far side. Here's the Loney with a quick chance, and Maloney turned aside by Picer, and there is that second corner.
Wow, and Maloney looked really lively on that one and comfortably received that ball from Ben Zemansky. He was able to take a guy inside and hit a really well-struck ball.
How about that? What if the Loney steps in and scores there? It nearly happened.
Yeah.
Kerr will take it once more. Connor Maloney, his 3rd appearance with the Riverhounds, played twice for the Hounds last year. Kerr in, header just wide from Hugh Roberts.
Roberts really got up there well and was able to get free of his marker and get up in a terrific serve right on his head, and he just couldn't get it down on the goal, just a little bit wide.
Perfect placement from Kevin Kerr, who sat out the lost FC Cincy. As the Hounds try to pick and choose, not the easiest time of the year for a coach to figure out how to distribute the playing time. Kerr was available off the bench but did not come in. Instead, it was Joe Holland handling all those. And he was looking for Roberts many times, in fact, on Wednesday night. Heineman can't get to that. It's headed clear by Todd Pratzner. Pratzner's become quite the stalwart on the back line for Pittsburgh here. Formerly of the Rochester Rhinos, as is Cristiano Francois. He's run over there in the midfield by Miguel Jaime, and some bodies clashing out near the stripe. Lofted toward Pratzner, who once again wins it away from Aaron Dennis. But Penn FC with possession. Metzger fires it near wing. Franco right through, looking for Metzger on the extended give and go, but it was broken up, and now it's Vunky Azil to Kerr, and Bakey Goodman has control. Thought I heard a whistle, and I did.
Whistle, yep.
Must have been a foul.
Penn FC really keeping it very, very tight and compact in the midfield, and really trying to squeeze the field a little bit and make it very difficult for us to play out. But I think if we're able to get out and switch the point of attack, there is going to be some openings on the opposite flank. But right now, their midfield looks pretty much almost like in a 4-4-2 with Diamond, and they're really, really squeezing it to one side and trying to keep it compact and forcing the Hounds to play out of some tight pressure. So it might take a while, but for them to figure out the rhythm of it. But with Vunky Azil and pushing up into that spot with Ben Zemansky, Kevin Kerr, of course, at the focal point there. Can they get it wide to Bakey Goodman, Connor Maloney, Andrew LeBon, those types of players? That's going to be very important for us.
Connor Maloney, fun fact, he's from Harrisburg, PA, so playing the team he might have grown up watching or rooting for. Penn FC now aligned with Rush, the soccer organization that has tens of thousands of youth players involved in it, based out of Colorado.
Colorado Rush has been an absolute major force in U.S. youth soccer for a number of years, and I think now they're making their foray into professional soccer with Penn FC.
Trying to make it a pipeline.
And they have the organization and the connections to, I'm sure, to really put this together and become a major contender in the USL.
That's the plan for any team that sets up the academy system or a feeder system. Become self-sustaining to a certain point. Lubon chases back here. He's going to let it bounce out for a corner. Shots were 12-8 Riverhounds in the first meeting between these teams, March 31st. It was frigid. It's about 40 degrees cooler than it is today. Beautiful summer evening. Vunky Azil ahead on the through ball to Kevin Kerr. Left-footed cross, and Parks mistimed his run, it appeared.
Yeah, I got a little bump from one of the Penn FC defenders and really just couldn't get any kind of get his feet under him to get any kind of takeoff to meet that cross.
He wanted the call. He protested. He did not get it.
One thing I think we're seeing right away, Matt, is Vunky Azil is, he has been playing pretty much a holding back as a center back, and now he's pushed into midfield with Ben Zemansky. And we saw him make a really intelligent run there before, which ended up with that ball into Kevin Kerr, who was able to deliver it and try to find Parks.
Parks trying to work 1v3 there, nearly pulled it off. But now it's volleyed by Miguel Jaime into the midfield. Ben Zemansky of Pittsburgh picks it off. Francois. They call him the cheetah. He's tripped up there. Thomas Vunky Azil, he stands out right away, wins so many duels. Hounds missed him on Wednesday, but you can't run these guys into the ground. He hadn't missed a minute prior to Wednesday night.
Yeah, and a lot of pace too. I mean, he can get up and down very, very quickly, and they're going to push him into those spots. But we also see Kevin Kerr, who won't hesitate to drop pretty deep to try to find it and start the attack. And when he's doing that, Zemansky's moving up, and Vunky Azil staying a little bit deeper in that holding spot.
Lubon on the wing, put it into traffic, blocked away by the visiting side. Roberts.
And there's Heineman, who wanted to push, and he's going to get it. Yep.
He will. Tommy Heineman came in as a sub in the first Keystone Derby match of the season. He has 45 MLS appearances in his career. Last year with those Deltas of San Francisco, the champions of NASL. Used to be a two-league situation in Division II. Now it's just the USL. And several of those NASL teams have joined the party over here. We're happy to have them. Tampa Bay Rowdies, Indy 11, a couple of teams the Hounds have seen already this season. Marco Franco wanting to go up and win this. He's run through by Lubon. That'll be a foul. Referee is Ismir Pekmic, and he's wearing the red, so you can easily spot him. Kerr has a problem with that call.
Yeah, and I think what Kevin Kerr and Ben Zemansky are trying to say is he was looking straight up at the ball and didn't see him, but the referee is saying, well, maybe that right arm just extended a little bit, because Andrew had to come a long way to try to find that, but it was the right arm that was extended a little bit that caught him, and that's going to be the foul.
Free kick, wouldn't call it necessarily a dangerous one, but it's the first real chance for Penn FC to catch its breath here in the attacking third. Frederico Poku, 20-year-old Ghanaian player. 4 players loaned from Inter Allies club in Ghana on this Penn team. And it will be Opoku right in, and Roberts colliding there.
On a corner.
Ends up being a corner. Roberts defended it well against Thiago Calvano, the captain.
Yeah, the Rush have always had some pretty strong connections in Africa, and so it's not surprising of the Ghanaian connection.
Opoku is going to try it again. Back post, and Lynn got up, got a hand to it, I believe. It's still free, though. Offside is the call. Gene Klein picked it out. The flag is up on the near side. Jeffrey Schwartzel and Gregory Irwin are the assistant referees.
Danny Lynn did very well there, Matt. Did very well. We can see him. He had to fight through a pretty crowded area to try to get a fist on that ball, but it was a good decision to try to get the punch on it. And you can see on the second ball that I believe that's Heineman's going to win, that they were off on that second ball.
Aaron Dennis appeared to be ahead of the second to last defender. Roberts will try an aerial. It's knotted away from Romeo Parks, and the Hounds reset it here. Zemansky, the native of Akron, Pittsburgh ties. Ben Zemansky sat out Wednesday. That is part of the storyline tonight. Both teams trying to rebound from those U.S. Open Cup losses. I was talking to Bob Lilly earlier today. He said the disappointment was definitely real. It's not something you just slough off. It's a chance to play an MLS team, of course, in the next round, but it won't happen. So now it's all USL from here on out.
Yeah, and I'll also help Bob say, hey, look, we're still undefeated here, and we want to keep it that way. And so they're certainly going to be motivated. It'd be great for the organization to be able to play another MLS team, but now their focus is strictly USL and winning this league. And so I am sure he has them ready to play. I mean, this is a competitive group, and really been impressed, Matt, with the depth of this team. You know, they've had a couple injuries already, especially like Joe Greenspan in the back, but they've been able to deal with it flawlessly, and that's a credit to Bob and his coaching staff and the players they have on the roster.
Let's not forget about Joe Greenspan, second-year Hound. Up until last week, he still led the team in clearances, so he made an impact in just a couple of matches here earlier. Foul against Pittsburgh's Vunky Azil, who's a rookie from the University of Charleston, West Virginia. Division II Player of the Year last season.
And I'll tell you, he would have dominated Division II because
oh yeah,
I'm sure there were a lot of top D1 schools that would have wanted to play like Thomas Vunky Azil, and I think he's a guy that's just going to get better and better and better through the competition in this league and in this environment.
Free kick, about 50 yards out for Penn FC. It'll go right on Dan Lind, who springs from his line to play it. No trouble there. 2 hands for safety in front of the Steel Army. Pittsburgh 3-0-2 at home. They have not conceded a goal in league here. They gave up 3 to Cincy in U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. They have not trailed, obviously, at home. Part of their 4-0-5 record. Last week was the first time they trailed anywhere at Tampa, but just briefly. They fell down 1-0, took a 2-1 lead, held on for a 2-2 draw. Luban.
And one of the things, you know, we're seeing here is that there's a lot of flow to Penn FC. With the exception of maybe Heineman, up top is that big number 9. There's a lot of flow and a lot of movement. Aaron Dennis is up top with him. Now you see him here on the right side. So
Parks gave it away.
Moved a lot of guys around, but you can see he is still the focal point as they're trying to find the big guy up top. And then bring some other guys into it with the Poku really trying to get up and down and support in that left flank.
Funky Aziel's in some trouble. Dennis confronting him, and it ends up being a giveaway as Heineman gives to Aaron Dennis. The blonde-haired forward to Franco, boxed into a corner here by Lubon and Funky Aziel, and didn't get much help from his teammates there. It's a goal kick, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and we just mentioned Aaron Dennis. He was out here on the right wing, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's in the center and is able to pressure Funky Aziel into a mistake. So a lot of movement, a lot of mobility, and we will see how the Hounds have to deal with that. I'm pretty sure what Bob Lloyd is going to want to do is really just maintain their shape and keep their discipline and pick these guys up when they get into these little pockets of space.
One thing I'm noticing about Romeo Parks, who just lost that aerial battle, but he's contesting a lot more. I think he's just feeling better. Had the leg injury. First couple of times he got back in, looked tentative, but
looking
not
a lot
tonight.
more fluid, isn't he? I mean, you know, it seemed to be a little bit more mechanical, I think, in previous games, and he looks to be a little bit more like the Romeo Parks, who was called up a couple of years ago to the Jamaican national team. So it's good to see him back, and like we said, we need him. It's a long season, and if they can get Romeo Parks going and scoring on a regular basis and making team of the week, and with Nico Brett being as dangerous as he's been, that's a terrific 1-2 punch for the Riverhounds.
Here we see the Hounds having some trouble getting through the middle of the playing surface, and both coaches coming into this one mentioned that it's a different type of a game here at Highmark Stadium. It's a narrower playing surface than most. I thought it was interesting that both sides alluded to that coming in. So it could be a little jammed up. You got to fight for every inch.
Yeah, when you have a surface is maybe 2 or 3, 4 yards narrow, more narrow than most of the surface you're playing on, might not seem like a lot, but at this level, it's huge. They want to spread that out as much as possible, and a yard or two on each flank can mean a lot to both of these teams, especially the way they like to use those flanks and the way they open up the game.
I did notice it last week at Tampa as Pedro Calvano has a hard time, or pardon me, Thiago Calvano has a hard time with that artificial surface bounce, and now Parks runs right through Franco, and this will be a card issued to Romeo Parks. A reckless challenge right in front of the Hounds bench. 21st minute. Parks is booked. Well, he's looking feisty, but that's a little too feisty.
Yeah, he's trying to plead his case, but I don't think he has one.
No, he does not.
It's reckless. He sticks out his foot, and you know, he catches.
That's Franco who went down. He catches
Franco, but you know, Romeo Parks has to be in much better control than that. I mean, that, you know, he ran it. He wasn't looking. He didn't see the player, and it's good to see him chasing back, but that's a dangerous foul. And now he's playing with a card, so he's really going to have to be careful.
That's his first card of the season. Parks playing in his 6th league match, 4th start. From St. Mary, Jamaica, 6'3", 195. Lynn calls off Pratzner. He has this one easily. This was the keeper matchup on March 31st, which finished 0-0. Lynn's allowed 5 goals on 15 shots. Peiser at age 38, the Frenchman's been quite good, including that opening night. Francois
fouled by Franco, I believe.
Yes, Franco getting back into it quickly here. Peiser's given up 6 on 19 shots. Kerr over to Todd Pratzner. Pennsylvania native Pratzner to Maloney, right on through. Here's Parks turning wildly. I think he heard a call from Cristiano Francois at the top of the 18, but was broken up. and taken away. 23rd minute now, no score between these two sides. Raul Voss replacing Bill Betcher, who was the only head coach in club history from 2003 through 17 as the Harrisburg City Islanders. Now he's the technical advisor.
Yeah, we're missing Bill. Say hello to him. He's been there a long time. Always did a terrific job and put a terrific product on the field.
Luban in some trouble here, gets rid of it, and on the end of it is Romeo Parks, cutting in front of Venter to make the play, but well too far there.
Yeah, I mean, Romeo Parks, that's not the best decision. He has to, I think he has to start bringing some players into the mix and bringing some players in rather than trying to get it behind the back line, because even if Francois is there, I don't know what he can do with it. So just much rather see him find Kevin Kerr, Thomas, Von Guzil, Ben Zemansky, those guys in behind him, or if he can combine with maybe a Luban or Maloney out wide.
Heinemann's hot right now. He thinks he was fouled. He's not going to get that call from referee Pekmich. Heinemann at 30 years old, the veteran, feels like he could probably speak a little bit more truth to power in this case, yeah. As he feels it.
Yeah, veteran guys who said he's some MLS experience, and that was.
Here's Parks' ball at his feet, turns it on Romeo Parks, the drive, big stop, the rebound, and Kerr missed it. It was sitting right there, and Kerr is extremely disappointed with himself for firing that over the crossbar.
But that's the strength that you see from Romeo Parks. Big, strong, able to hold off the challenger defender, get him on the turn, and then it certainly has terrific pace where he can really accelerate and get into that, and struck that well, but good save by Peiser.
This is looking like the Romeo Parks we saw at the start of the 16 season, at points last year when he came back to the Hounds. After his year-long suspension from FIFA competition, he is healthy, no doubt, and give props to Von Guzil for that ball into Parks. Handled it quickly, did Romeo.
Yeah,
first touch was good.
Quick little turn, like I said, was able to hold off the challenge, turn on the defender who was coming up trying to step in front of him, and he was able to hold it off and then take that great first touch and get into space behind.
The Hounds want Parks again, and why not? He's going to stop it short of the byline, just barely, and throw Pittsburgh as he bopped it off the foot of Franco over there.
So right now it's Romeo Parks. I mean, he is playing very direct. He's trying to go right at the Harrisburg back line and having a little bit of success. He's putting some pressure on really through strict individual effort.
Penn FC with a record of 2-3-4 coming in. They'll have the throw. 1-2-2 on the road. 10 points total. That's 12th in the standings outside the playoff zone. Not too early to start thinking about that now. The Hounds are 4th with a record of 4-0-5 in the East. It's going to be a battle with FC Cincinnati, Louisville City defending champs. Some tough competition to try to edge out at the top of the standings. But no losses yet, even if the Hounds haven't gotten a win in 3 weeks here in league play. Hugh Roberts, and right on back to Pratzner. They play catch for a bit. 27th minute.
And, you know, another interesting adjustment with Jordan Dover, Ray Lee not in the lineup, where they've pretty much had Von Guzil back at the center back with either a Roberts or a Pratzner. But now almost a strict four-man back line with Luban, Maloney, Pratzner, and Roberts, and they've been able to push Thomas Von Guzil, as we mentioned, up into the midfield with Ben Zemansky. So you're really kind of looking at a 4-2-3-1 with Parks up high. You know, Kevin Kerr working in the midfield with Von Guzil and Ben Zemansky in that little triangle there.
Cristiano Francois keeps trying to work that right side. It looked like he had a step on Harry Hawkins, the defender, but tripped over the ball, did Francois. Hawkins for the New York Cosmos last year. Made one appearance, formerly of Hofstra. Now he has the ball at his feet against Francois. The shoes on the other foot there. but just giving it up to the Hounds was Penn FC.
So right here, I'd like to see Andrew Lubon get a little bit higher up the pitch and stretch him. He's starting to.
He's here on our near side.
Work his way up there on the near side, and certainly with Pratzner and Roberts, you see them now. And now Thomas Van Kazil, as a true holding guy, he's going to step in between the two center backs and initiate the attack. So can they get Maloney and Lubon up a little bit higher, as we see, Goodman and Francois coming a little bit more central. But I think we need a little bit more width in there. But
that's Maloney's flip. Zemansky couldn't quite take it on the volley. Connor Maloney, guy's got legs. He can get up and down the pitch.
He can get up and down, and he has a lot of explosive up and down that flank, and also the ability to take some guys on out there. So hopefully we're going to see some of that tonight.
The Riverhounds are no longer affiliated directly with Columbus Crew, but still relationships built there over the past 2 seasons when they were. Maloney has played twice for the Crew this year. Switch of play. Chasing it over there, Frederico Poku. The cross here, looking for Dennis, who whiffs on the first-time attempt.
He had a go, but he had a bit of a vision, but it was a little bit wild and really didn't make any contact.
If he strikes it cleanly, that's danger for Dan Lind, who was right there in his face.
Or anybody else behind the back of the net.
Exactly. You have to
see this, but
bring a helmet if you're in the Steel Army, maybe.
Yeah, seriously. Terrific.
Gotta love the cross, though.
Cross, yeah. And Lubon tried to close him. I think Dennis took his eye off a little bit.
Some things to watch if you're Dennis in that spot. Perhaps a little distracted by Lubon. Getting closer. Heineman holds it up, laid it back, broken up briefly.
Yeah, he wants another foul, but not going to get that one.
Not this time. Lubon to handle the throw. Penn FC defeated Toronto in its most recent league match. That was 2 weeks ago, though. They played back-to-back U.S. Open Cup matches. Penn FC 1-0 winners in Ontario.
I really think the game is kind of evolved almost very, very similar as far as their systems, and a 4-2-3-1, as was mentioned. Dennis has come out in the right wing, and Menjivar has pushed underneath Heineman. So we see Miguel Jaime, he's holding down the park down there. Metzger, those two are pretty much holding it down in the center with Dennis going out wide. So I don't know if it's a change of a matchup, but the way they intended to, but certainly both sides are playing very, very similar. As a result, it's very difficult for them to break it down.
Foul here against Pittsburgh.
Finally,
yeah, he gets the call.
Against Pratzner. I mean, he's been.
You're arguing for the future. That's what you always say there. You're not trying to change a call necessarily, but
he has been
put a bug in their
showing
ear.
a little bit of frustration on those calls, and honestly, I think if you're Pratzner, you're probably a little happy with that frustration.
Pratzner, the man who got dinged there, as you see in the background, the Gateway Clipper, one of the fleet here, cruising down the Monongahela River, or Riverside. Dennis going up. Well, he wanted to go up, but Lubon headed him off at the pass.
Very alert defensive play by Lubon. He was able to get inside of Dennis and clear that header. So very alert.
Dennis gets inside, though, and Roberts made the intercept, and now he'll head upfield with it. Roberts' pass, though, was a little behind Kerr.
Not a good outlet. A little bit better off that counter.
Too soft as well. And so Francois is going to put in the hard yards over there against Hawkins, but the ball's out off of Francois' foot last. Cristiano Francois, second on the team in chances created. Kerr is first at 19. Kenardo Forbes on the bench today is third with 9. So 3 midfielders, 3 attacking midfielders there. All different players. Francois more the speedster. Kerr the pure playmaker.
The one guy we need, we haven't seen too much of, and I want to see a little more of, is Becky Goodman. He's been working hard, but really hasn't seen a lot of the ball. They haven't been able to find him much, and we've seen a little bit more comfortable playing Francois. So, and it's expected. I mean, when Goodman's making his first start, but hopefully they can get him involved a little bit more because everything's been coming down pretty much from either through Parks or through the right side.
Bakey Goodman, as I mentioned, pretty impressive up in Erie, against amateur competition, but was the 56th overall pick of the Seattle Sounders last spring. Man has some ability, but not much time with the ball at all, really. 1 or 2 touches tonight. Here's the free kick for Penn FC. Lynn will grab it. A strong effort.
Yeah, well read by Danny Lynn. He saw that ball early and made his call early, and that's the decisiveness you want to see in your goalkeeper. I mean, really came out cleanly. The Hounds cleared their line to allow him some space to get to the ball, and he took it over the heads of a few players and without any sort of hesitation. So that's really good to see, and that's certainly, if you're a defender, that's the decisiveness you want to see from your keeper.
It's Dan Lynn's goal now, with Kyle Morton out for the season with a torn ACL. He had been getting some of the backup action, if you will. Kerr volleying, looking for Francois. It's knotted down by Venter, and Penn FC can avoid danger there, which appeared to be brewing at the edge of the 18.
Yeah, nice little combination. They're able to find Romeo Parks, who I think very smartly just knocked that one touch back to Kerr, who played one touch in to Francois making that run.
Kerr in a crowd, and he's overtaken there by Calvano. No, it was actually a foul that's been called.
So dangerous spot, very similar to where Harrisburg, pardon me.
We both done it once now today.
Yeah. Still, I just noticed the Keystone Cup down there, and it made me think of Harrisburg. But it's, right about in the same spot where Penn FC was just a few minutes ago. Kevin Kerr, of course, always can pick somebody out, and has an expert delivery, as we will see with Vankia Ziels up there, with Parks, Pratzner, all looking to try to get in there. Penn FC holding their line pretty much at the edge of the penalty area.
Kerr, the right foot, in there, and Roberts again. He's the man they're looking for in recent matches, but he missed once more.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Cavana was right on his back holding him down, so it was very difficult. He did not get inside him, and Roberts got inside of Calvano, and so Calvano sort of gave him a nudge to hold him down. He couldn't get up strong enough to get a really clean header on that ball.
Kevin Kerr, the captain, he has scored quite a bit against this former Harrisburg club. Dennis is in, and he couldn't chip it by Lynn.
Terrific job by Danny Lynn. Wow, stuck that left ball out there and was able to prevent that. And if he doesn't do that, it's a goal for Penn FC. But again, very quickly off his line, and smartly was able to get that hand up just inside the penalty area.
A deflected pass.
Very, very close.
Dennis had a clear lane. No one between him and the keeper.
Yeah. So Danny Lynn, I mean, love to see that. Again, with very decisive, just alertly coming off his line and staying connected really with his back line. So he was able to close that space once it was behind him. But, they're looking at those battles with Heineman again, and Heineman was able to win that tough challenge from Pratzner, and that led to the flick, and the ball threw into Dennis.
Lynn made a key save late against Tampa to preserve the 2-2 draw. Offside Pittsburgh here with Francois, just a step too far. Lynn played the past 2 years with Rochester. Where else? Coming in on the request of Bob Lilly. Lynn watching this ball, shielding, and it's out. Not without some resistance from Aaron Dennis, who's become quite close to Dan Lind in this opening half.
But of course, Danny Lynn, no stranger to Pittsburgh, as he's a local Pitt product. I love to see that. And also played here a year when the Riverhounds had a PDL team. So he's quite familiar with Highmark Stadium.
He's the all-time minutes leader for keepers in Pitt Panthers history.
Yeah, I got to see him play an awful lot at Pitt, and you always knew he had the potential to be at this level.
Now playing pro in the town where he made his home for 4 years. Uptown in Oakland. Here on the south side, it's 0-0, 38th minute. We've ticked into a through ball to Kerr, but it's offside. The flag is up.
Boy, that was tight. But again, terrific play by Romeo Parks on the turn. Found his feet, was able to spin away and looking to connect. And Kerr, you know, really terrific run. Just a little bit too late on the delivery from Parks, and Kerr just got maybe a step or two ahead of the last defender.
Kevin Kerr has 6 goals in 23 all-time matches versus Penn FC, Harrisburg City Islanders.
But those are the kind of runs, Matt, that I think that are great to see. That we see a lot. We've seen a lot from Kevin Kerr over the years. I mean, he's very smart. The timing of his runs is usually spot on. He knows when he can go. He knows when he has to work his way back. He knows how to find pockets in between the lines, with the back line to the midfield line, and he can bring guys into the game really, really quickly.
Ben Zemanski has the ball at his foot now. He makes a play here to Vunkiazil, who's up the pitch further than usual. Out wide, Francois working. Back to Vunkiazil, the first time strike, and it's off a body and high into the air, bouncing toward the touchline, out for a Pittsburgh throw, and one of the Penn FC players is injured, maybe the one who blocked that shot.
I think so, Matt. I think it struck him pretty good, but tremendous flow from the Riverhounds that time. We saw that one coming. Ben Zemanski brought it down, found Vunkiazil, boom, quickly out to the right flank to Francois. A couple little shake and bake moves, and then drops it back, and we get a shot. And we hope that the Penn FC, I think that's Calvano down.
It is.
And we hope that he's okay and able to continue. But
he's a 36-year-old Brazilian-born Italian citizen, Diego Calvano. Oldest non-keeper player in this match, short of Peiser, 38 years old.
Well, you know, interestingly, the Riverhounds, we had a player by the name of Anthony Calvano, who also played with the Harrisburg City Islanders. So, but I don't think he was Brazilian or Italian. So he's probably Italian, but not Brazilian.
Right.
But so I doubt if they're related.
He made 26 appearances last season, still a workhorse at this stage of his career. They just call him Tiago in Harrisburg, in fact. One of those one-name-only players. He has to step out briefly here. The throw-in for Pittsburgh, trying to take advantage of being a man up. That's over with now as Calvano gets back into it. Zemanski flicked off of his boot, and it will be a Penn FC throw.
I thought Ben did well and knew there was no place to go and tried to play it off of Penn FC, but it must have touched him before it went across the line.
The Keystone Derby Cup will not be decided tonight. That opening draw assured that. The only match in Harrisburg between these two this season will be the pivot point, but one of these two teams can get a significant leg up with a victory tonight. No goals yet in the season series, and Penn FC getting close to 4.5 matches without a goal against the Hounds. And last year the Hounds were not as defensively stout as they are at the start of this season. Luban.
That's a giveaway from Luban. And one of the things, when the Hounds start to build out of the back a little bit, and as their back four starts to open up, as I mentioned, I'd like to see maybe Maloney and Luban get a little bit higher. But there are some big gaps, some big pockets in the midfield, and when they get it out wide to those players, they once we find Ben Zemanski or Thomas or Kevin Kerr, I think that's when the Hounds have had the best attacks. And so rather than lumping a long ball like that, Ben Zemanski was right next to him, and that's going to be a foul.
There's a trip against Zemanski, who wanted to help Dan Metzger up. I don't know if Metzger wanted much to do with it. Zemanski's been physical this season, not afraid to commit the professional foul or two.
I mean, he made his mark in Portland, being a guy that was going to be anywhere on the field and run where he had to, and certainly the same thing at the University of Akron. Hard, strong, tough defender. As we said, that's because he has Pittsburgh roots.
Exactly,
and that type of mentality going to play.
Dan Lynn, but Lynn got the better of it, smothered it. That happened about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, both keepers have come up pretty well for their teams, with Pizer a very good save on Romeo Parks early on, and of course that terrific one-handed save by Danny Lynn at the top of the box.
Dan Lynn goes deep here. There was an early save by Pizer on a slide after a through ball by Pittsburgh. Sprung, I believe it was Parks for an early chance.
It was, yeah.
And now Parks is fighting. He's been good in this opening half, dealing with the ball at his right toe, but gave it up right into the chest of Venter. And the Hounds have to regroup in the 44th minute. Can't imagine there'll be too much stoppage time added on. We've only seen one injury.
There we go. That's a good ball from Roberts, and a
Kerr to
look
Francois.
from
He
Kerr.
might be able to catch up, but he overran it a bit. He's going to get the carom.
Still has possession.
Francois to the outside. The elusive one over to Maloney, overlapping. Back to Francois, right through Vunky Azil. Zemanski can't make the connection, still bouncing free, and picked up by Hawkins, and he just gets rid of it toward the midfield.
But that's the ball I'd like to see a little bit more of, Matt. I mean, we saw Roberts, rather than try to go long right away, can he find one of the midfielders in there? And there was a lot of space. There's a lot of space there in midfield area. Their midfielder too were dropping pretty deep. Menjazar is pushing a little bit high, and there's some space, and they were able to find Kerr and
Roberts. Flubbed that pass.
He looked for the speedster Francois going down, and that's going to be one for Penn FC here at midfield.
Getting down toward the end of the first half, Parks is saying they moved that ball up a good couple of yards, and they did. So referee Pekmich makes Metzger drag it back a few steps. It's not going to matter because, well, I was about to say it's in the Hounds' possession, but it's not. Francois unable to pull it in. But Hawkins mishandles. Getting close to the end of regulation here in the opening half. 2 minutes will be added on. We've received word from the sideline. Heineman was offside there as he got his head to that lead ball. So 2 minutes coming up, 2 minutes for either side to steal one before the break.
And that would be a huge lift for either team if they could get one here. It's been such a tight contest with limited chances. If somebody can put one in here right before the break, that would be a big lift going into halftime.
Parks can't quite get there, but it's headed off the back of his skull. Now Parks couldn't get around Venter, who held him off well.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have the step on Venter, but he recovered pretty well to knock that one out of bounds.
Parks, a sharp cross. Goodman was the intended target, but it's played away and out. Corner kick.
Yeah, Franco got inside of Goodman, was able to get that out, but another corner for the Riverhounds.
We're about a minute into stoppage time. We anticipate 2 minutes. A full crowd at Highmark Stadium waiting for the men in black to perhaps strike here. A whistle, they want to reset it.
Yeah, referee is going to talk to
a chat with Pratzner, it appears.
In there, yep. So a little bit of tugging and grabbing, nothing too much out of the ordinary, but referee tried to take care of it. Oh,
here's the backdoor cross over Roberts, and Zemanski will have to hustle now. Maloney, who had an early chance. Connor Maloney in, and headed just wide by Vunky Azil. He's shaking his head.
Yeah, I mean, Vunky Azil wants that one back, and Connor Maloney did well to cut that inside and put in a terrific delivery on his left foot. And Vunky Azil had the position on the defender.
It feels like the Riverhounds have had more than their share of these attempted flicks, but they just haven't directed them on target. That'll do it for the first half. We've heard the whistle, and it'll be 0-0 going into the locker room. 3 halves played in this season series, and no goals yet. So, Gene Klein, you anticipate any big changes, or do you think we might continue to see just that nip and tuck type of a thing?
I think it's going to be very tight. I think one of the things we saw at the beginning, or we talked about in the preview, was the two focal points of the attack, Tommy Heineman for Penn FC and Romeo Parks for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and that's who both teams have been going through. So I would expect a little bit more of the same, like a couple of minor changes, but I think we're going to see both teams trying to play through those guys and try to find that elusive goal.
It's a hot night. The offenses have not been able to convert as of yet in the Keystone Derby Cup, round 2 for the season. I'm Matt Geika, Gene Klein's alongside. Thanks for watching on ESPN+. We'll be back with more at halftime.
All right, that's enough, you two. Don't paint your brother. No, you can't eat the clay. What can I say? Moms just know. I'm Christine Sorensen, and as a mom, I know parents know a lot. But for the few things we don't know, there's Kidsburg, your go-to resource for all the great things in our area for kids and families. Everything from kid-friendly events, creative learning, and help for parents. It's every Wednesday on KDKA TV, emailed to your inbox and online at kidsburg.org.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
It's so unfair. You just feel stripped of being a woman, not being able to have a child. Or they had told me that I can't have kids naturally. It was just like waterworks.
Yeah, what's it like being pregnant?
But it's an amazing thing to know that I don't have all of the things to make a baby, but I still made this baby.
I mean, it really is a miracle.
Seriously.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a fertility expert at Allegheny Health Network.
Now, where does it hurt the most when you have it all the way straight?
Down here. It started really hurting, and it would really hurt if I stood on it.
It's a little patellar tendonitis or jumper's knee is the other thing.
How's that feel?
It feels better.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
Back at Highmark Stadium, the youngsters are out there on the pitch. They're trying to do what the big boys couldn't do in the first half, which is put one into the goal. It's scoreless at the half. No surprise, two of the top defensive clubs in USL, kind of like what we saw 2 weeks ago when Indy 11 came in and that one finished 0-0. Now these two teams have meandered their way through the opening portions of the schedule. As we mentioned, the U.S. Open Cup is over with for both teams. They're done. They've been eliminated from that. So now it's all USL from here on. And some challenges coming up for Penn FC at Nashville, right on the playoff cutoff line. The Riverhounds went down there and had a scoreless draw in the opening match of the season. Toronto FC, too, might give a little bit of a respite, but then there's that rematch against the Richmond Kickers. Always interesting before Louisville City, the defending champs. So a mixed bag here for Penn FC coming up, Gene.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the interesting thing, I think, they're at Nashville on Saturday. So Nashville's going to see these two teams next week back-to-back. So, and the rematch with the Kickers from the Open Cup, but then Louisville, Tampa Bay, two very, very strong sides. So Penn FC's going to have to make their mark, and of course, that's why this game's so important, Matt.
They could really use a 3 points. I know that if either team was more in need of that, it would be the visitors. As for the home team, it'll be one more match for the Hounds at home. It's been a home-heavy portion of the schedule here in the month of May. FC Cincy at home this past Wednesday, Indy 11 2 weeks ago, Penn FC tonight. There is Nashville on Wednesday, a rare midweek match here. 34 fixtures in all on the USL regular season schedule this year. But, well, speaking of challenges, at Richmond, never easy to win down there, but you look ahead, New York Red Bulls, too, always strong. At Charleston, at Blackbaud Stadium, that's a difficult assignment, and there's Louisville to wrap up the month. So the Hounds have played some teams lower in the standings at the start of this season. They've taken advantage of that, but the challenge level will continue to kick up, it appears.
Well, I think it's safe to say that the Riverhounds are coming really into the difficult part of their schedule. I mean, the meat of their schedule here with, of course, the rivalry tonight with Penn FC, but then Nashville at the Kickers, who's, again, another rival game. We played each other for a number of years, but then Red Bulls, Charleston Battery doing very well, having a terrific season, and Louisville City. So these are the games that the Riverhounds are going to be really challenged. The depth on the team is going to be very, very important, because you're going to, I'm sure Bob's going to have to rotate some guys in and out a little bit, not an enormous amount, but we've had a lot of games here the last week. So that depth is really going to have to come through.
And, of course, in the second half here, we'll see what these two teams go to in terms of substitutions, how they try to play that as the night wears on. We're scoreless at the half. Back in a bit. Until then, enjoy these highlights from Week 10 across the USL.
If you ever wondered what 102 appearances for your club looks like documented, there it is in TIFO right there. Brad Ring.
Oh, and it's a goal. What a strike from Los Dos. Efrain Alvarez has come into the game. 15-year-old strikes it. Now Alvarez with a shot. And what a strike by Alvarez, who now has 6 goals in the last 3 matches.
Now just outside the 18. Strikes it with his right foot. And right on cue. A huge goal.
And finds Langsdorff. He takes the shot and puts it in the back of the net. Langsdorff has a brace in the first half.
Takes hesitation step, and it's the save produced by Eric Dick.
Saved by Crapo.
Put numbers back. Will strike it and put it in the back of the net. Marvin Loria likely seals the 3 points with his first ever goal in USL.
This one comes into the center. There's your goal! The goal! The goal for OKC! The header by Callum Ross. The streak is over, and the Greens have the lead 1-0. The power outage is no more.
Returning to Highmark Stadium, still at halftime in the Keystone Derby Cup Edition 2 between Pittsburgh and Penn FC. Here you see some of the youngest Riverhounds fans. Who knows? Could be some Penn FC fans as well. They've made the trip across the state. It's only about a 3-hour drive from Harrisburg. I'm Matt Geico. You're watching on ESPN+. Let's go to some news from around the USL, the only Division II league in the country. We've spoken many times about the U.S. Open Cup tonight. 9 teams from the USL have made it through to face MLS squads. And we're going to see Louisville, Nashville, San Antonio, Sacramento, and also, by a technicality, Cincinnati hosting MLS teams. So big moments coming up. And speaking of Cincinnati, Emmanuel Ledesma named the USL Player of the Week for his goal and 3 assists. A new single game high in this league this year. That came against North Carolina FC. And how about the keepers? 3 penalty saves in Week 10. Not too bad. Toughest assignment in sports is stopping a penalty kick, and we have seen 24% of those get stopped this year. So tip of the cap to the men in gloves this year. in those situations. Other notables, other interesting things as we take our trip around the United Soccer League. How about an upcoming schedule? I mentioned midweek matches upcoming for many teams, including Pittsburgh against Nashville. Already got to that. Indy 11 and Charleston Battery, two teams in the playoff zone in the Eastern Conference. They'll square off at 7 p.m. simultaneously with this one here. And then next weekend, more playoff matchups or potential playoff previews here if you want to go that way. Red Bulls 2 and Cincy. That's 1 p.m. down at Red Bulls Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Tampa Bay Rowdies, they're trying to climb back in. They made a coaching change. They had a draw last week for the against the Hounds, rather. They'll host Atlanta United 2, one of the newer squads here in USL. Let's go to the team of the week in USL. Romeo Parks of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, one of those members. We already mentioned Ledesma, the player of the week for FC Cincinnati in the midfield. Other players from the East, Al-Badawi of Cincy. FC Cincinnati is a deep team. I really got an appreciation for them this past Wednesday in U.S. Open Cup play when they didn't even field their top unit, not even close, and they still had at least even terms, if not better, against the Hounds. Obasi, we've seen him in here this season for Ottawa Fury. Ambrose on the back line, Atlanta United 2, and Jimenez in the middle there on that USL Team of the Week. Remember, you can find all this information, Team of the Week, Goal of the Week, all the highlights on USLsoccer.com. Gene Klein will join in just a bit as we come back after this final break at halftime. You're watching USL Soccer, Pittsburgh Riverhounds against Penn FC on ESPN+. I missed something.
I developed some postpartum depression. I noticed that, I wasn't connecting with my daughter as much. I didn't want people to judge me for this.
I'm on the green couch because my wife did not survive her battle with postpartum depression. That's why I work with H and Highmark, and we're building a safe place for new moms so that other moms like you can find their joy.
Hope for families struggling with postpartum depression is at Allegheny Health Network.
It's a new era unleashed at Highmark Stadium, and the Riverhounds are off to their hottest start in team history. May 30th is our annual Military Appreciation Night, where the Hounds battle Nashville SC for a special Wednesday night match at 7 p.m. at Highmark Stadium. Active military and veterans can call 412-865-GO and purchase discounted tickets. Visit riverhounds.com for more information.
Now, where does it hurt the most when you have it all the way straight?
Down here. It started really hurting, and it would really hurt if I stood on it.
It's a little patellar tendonitis, or jumper's knee is the other thing.
How's that feel?
It feels better.
Call 412 Doctors for a same-day appointment at Allegheny Health Network.
It's so unfair. You just feel stripped of being a woman, not being able to have a child. Or they had told me that I can't have kids naturally. It was just like waterworks.
Yeah, what's it like being pregnant?
But it's an amazing thing to know that I don't have all of the things to make a baby, but I still made this baby.
I mean, it really is a miracle.
Seriously.
Call 412 Doctors for an appointment with a fertility expert at Allegheny Health Network.
On the south side of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the banks of the Monongahela River, Steel Army getting some halftime refreshments, getting ready for another half of action here in Pittsburgh. Hounds and Penn FC 0-0. Let's go back to the first half. Despite the lack of goals, a couple of chances for either side. The keepers were the stars, though. Dan Lind on the Hound side, Ramu Peiser on the Penn FC side of the pitch. And there you see the start of the second matchup of the season in the Keystone Derby Cup. Andrew Lubon, early look, and, well, he's been active as Bob Lilly likes his wingbacks to be. Here's a cracker of a shot from Connor Maloney, the loanee from Columbus Crew, maybe the best real look the Hounds had. Outside of that one, I forgot about the Hugh Roberts header, too. Penn FC with a restart or two that caused some trouble for the Riverhounds. There you see a free kick There's Dan Lind going up to punch it clear. Gene, you were impressed by Dan Lind in the first half.
I thought I really was, Matt. I thought he did very well coming off his line. Most importantly, I like his decision making. It was quick. It was decisive. He was making some early calls. No hesitation. And that's really what you need from your goalkeepers. We see a great opportunity by Romeo Parks, and Pizer doing very, very well to make that save.
I told you the keepers were the stars, and Pizer getting a hand on Maloney's drive, a hand on a shot from Romeo Parks there you just saw. There's Aaron Dennis whiffing on an attempted highlight reel volley.
I know we see another one from Danny Lind coming off his line and taking that to highest point. So that was good to see. And you know, so we've seen a variety of attacks from both teams. The Hounds getting both of their outside backs, LeBron and Connor Maloney, into the attack a lot.
Lind with that spectacular stop
on Dennis.
Aaron Dennis. He's been lurking and looking for a goal in this one. Shots, how about this? 8-1. That shot from Dennis was the only one that Penn has had in this match so far through 45 minutes. Possession heavily in favor of the Riverhounds so far, especially for a team in Pittsburgh that hasn't been a big possession team in the early going this season. So I'm sure that impresses Bob Lilly, but he'd also like to see more finish, more clinical play in the attacking third.
Yeah, but I think also with a team like Penn FC, who's going to keep it tight and compact, that sort of possession, you want to continue, and hopefully in the second half they can start to break them down a little bit more and get them tired from chasing the game a little bit, because that's what Penn FC has done a little bit more than the Riverhounds so far. So here we are, started the second half, and we'll see which team can come up with that first goal.
Well, here's Kerr right off the hop. Kevin Kerr into the penalty area, booted it a little too far ahead of himself, and that allowed Calvano to screen him off and goal kick Penn FC. Just like the start of the first half, where Romeo Parks had a great opportunity. This time it's Kerr forging ahead. He got his refreshments at half, much like many of the fans here in attendance.
Yeah, and Matt, I don't see any changes for either team so far. We said at the end of the half that I'm sure they're going to pretty much stay the same for at least, I would think, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll see if Raul Voss or Bob Maloney can make any changes. But there's a foul on Heidemann, who's been drawing quite a few fouls tonight.
He's been doing a good job. He's a handful at the top of that formation. Heidemann, 3 goals all through the air this year as well. And here is another one of those free kick opportunities for Penn FC. Richard Menjivar and the youngster Frederick Opoku. Opoku puts this one right at the 6. Lind gobbles it up.
Yeah, that was an easier one for Danny Lind. It was pretty much a direct ball straight into the keeper. I'm sure Penn wants that bent a little bit away from him.
That Pratzner ball, a little too far for Kerr to handle, but Zemansky cleans up the garbage there in the midfield. Kerr over to far wing, Bakey Goodman. Goodman holds, drives across the face of the goal, and it's cleared out by Hawkins, I believe, who got there in front of Francois.
There it was. He just was able to get inside on that one, and it's a goal kick. So
off Francois last then, apparently. I was ready to mark down corner.
But that's where they call. Did they call? I don't know if the flag got up, Matt, or not. But
I didn't see, and it was put into play from where a goal kick would, so I'm assuming goal kick.
I'm assuming goal kick also. But yeah, but good to see from Bakey Goodman there. You know, we got, as we mentioned, I think we need to get him a little bit more involved. I'm sure Bob Lilly's the same thing at halftime as Kevin Kerr gets
right in the back of the head.
Yeah, right in the back of the head with a pretty good collision, and that's going to be a booking and the dessert. I don't think you can argue about that one.
Metzger's gone.
Metzger, yellow card.
Is given a card, pardon me, a yellow card. 48th minute. Similar to Parks' card in the first half, reckless challenge. Up high, and Heinemann wants another discussion. He is certainly getting his money's worth whenever he has a chat with referee Ismir Pekmic.
Yeah, he's He's had quite a few discussions tonight. So he's, as we see, Ben Zemansky ready to take that free kick.
Metzger in the books. 66 USL appearances coming into this season at just the young age of 24. Penn FC fends off the initial restart, but Zemansky has it back. Gave it up. Heineman got in the way. Maloney was the intended receiver of it.
Not a good one from. Can't play those little softballs in from Roberts right to the middle. Yes.
But here comes Maloney. Missed the connection.
Yeah, missed that with Kevin and Ben Zemansky.
This is a tough assignment when you come in as a lone player, of course. You get a couple of workouts and you hope for the best. Maloney is over here just inside the touchline, receives this ball from Pratzner. Maloney over the head.
But I think one of the things that we see with Maloney, that I'm sure he's playing the spot where he plays with the crew, and the crew are the way they play is very, very. They use their outside backs enormously, push them up really high, and they're quite involved in the attack. So Maloney's going to be comfortable with that, and a little bit easier to put him in one of those spots, and maybe a little bit trickier in the midfield. So
Opoku served that one in. It bounced right by Aaron Dennis's foot. Heineman was in the area too. Heineman and Dennis, the twosome up top for Raul Voss. No foul. Menjivar's on it for Penn FC.
Yeah, I think
dispossessed.
Yeah, Ben Zemansky wanted a foul there.
Here's Parks. Can he use that speed? He will. Romeo Parks, ball at his foot. He's bumped, and it's off the side of the goal.
Whoa.
Wow, that was really close.
Yeah, very close with that. Parks
bumped a couple of times.
Yeah, bumped a couple times.
Just not enough for a PK.
With Venter, I believe. And yeah, just not enough. I thought he was almost going to go down, but he did not. But you know, good serve by Andrew LeBon. And again, when you get Parks in behind, man, he is dangerous. And there's a little bump there by Venter, and almost thought Preisner came off and showed Parks a little bit of an angle to the goal, but he was able to close it off.
So Parks just desperation there after being bumped off stride. Couldn't direct that select ball on target. Now in the possession of the Hounds. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. Receive free shipping on orders over $50 at selectsportamerica.com. Pratzner intercepted here by Opoku, who's going to be able to keep it in play. Frederick Opoku plays it square. Heineman couldn't take it with him. And here's Roberts missing there.
Was coming right in behind that. I think Heineman was trying to leave it for him, and very, very close. But Pratzner went into a bad spot there and took a touch right into Opoku, and unnecessary there because it went right into a little pocket of pressure.
Heineman trying to overrun Pratzner, and instead it's will be a corner kick. Pardon me, it's off Pratzner last. It appeared to be Heineman's momentum that pushed it out over the end line, but Penn gets its first free kick, or a corner kick rather, of the second half.
Looks like a few raindrops are starting to fall here, Matt. I don't think we're expecting a lot, but
short corner. Here's the cross. Spunky Azil wanted in the air, and an attempted volley well offline from Miguel Jaime.
See if we. I don't think it'll be enough to change what's going on the field, but
it's been off and on all day.
We see.
It wasn't quite as warm as yesterday because of the clouds.
Rain jackets on.
And if it's Highmark Stadium, we usually do get a spritz at some point.
We do.
During the summertime. The heat of the day, you know how it goes if you're in the Midwest or the Northeast. Memorial Day weekend, we have reached it. Soccer season's in full swing in Pittsburgh and all the other cities in the USL. Roberts in a hand battle with Heineman. Lynn's got to come out and played it right into Heineman, but back there is Lubon to get there first. That ball spun away.
Danny Lynn really had to come hard and sort of a desperate slide and played it right off of Heineman, but we were still able to get the clearance out of it. So that was dangerous, but on the part of Penn FC, but just that long ball that just snuck over the top of the Riverhound back line and forcing them to come off. But again, very quickly off his line.
Hawkins, Harry Hawkins, the Englishman, has the ball back here. You could hear one of his teammates calling out Harry. And that might have been Venter, who ends up with the ball on one of his orange boots.
And this is, Penn FC loses that one. Not a...
That was Franco.
Great touch there. Jaime played one a little bit higher in the air to Franco. He couldn't deal with it, but that was sort of the best couple minutes there from Penn FC, who've been very content to drop pretty deep. Let Hyman lead the point of confrontation just about at the center circle. Menjazar will come up to help him every once in a while, but they're very content to set deep right now. We've seen a couple big clearances and see if they can catch the Hounds a little bit on the counter. That's good stuff from Penn FC. Much better there.
Metzger took it away in their defensive third, and now Hawkins into the box. An attempted chip by Jaime was intercepted by Pittsburgh's Hugh Roberts. Back at the other end of the field, Francois thought he was fouled. He had his jersey grabbed, but the referee ruled that he embellished it.
Well, the speed that we've seen Penn FC get out of the back of the last two times gives you an indication they're going to be content to sit a little bit low, try to absorb as much as they can from the Hounds' possession. They'll be content to keep to let the Hounds keep it
Jaime, that's still in, by the way, and Roberts makes the saving play.
Yeah, and catch something on the counter, and almost caught the Hounds napping a little bit on that one, on that restart deep in their end.
Well, you know what? They called it out just barely before Jaime broke to the near post, so it'll be a goal kick. That bails out Pittsburgh, which appeared to let Jaime squeeze by. Pratzner and Maloney were right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and you can see it goes across the end line. So that was out.
Sharp call from the assistant referee on the far side. Heineman ran into Roberts. Loose ball again, and the thing is pinballing around in the Hounds 18 lately, the last few minutes.
Yeah, that previous play was interesting because everybody kind of they switched off for a second for the Riverhounds, and couldn't difficult to see from our vantage point exactly if it went out or not. But now we know why. So
play getting more frantic, not quite as controlled as it was in the first half. Francois tapped that one through, but it's on to Ramu Peiser. The 38-year-old Frenchman drives it over the midfield stripe. Heineman.
Surprised on going
on the
Heineman,
end. Yep. Menjivar. Now Franco delaying and giving it out of bounds. Throw in there right in front of the new premium seats on the Monongahela River side of the field. I'm Matt Geico along with Gene Klein. Two-man booth tonight. Paul Child not with us. He's off coaching himself, in fact.
He is. We wish him the best if he's listening tonight.
We're on ESPN Plus. Now the official broadcast partner of the USL. Thomas Vanke Azil trying to get it revved up now for Pittsburgh. The Hounds outshot Penn FC 8-1 in the first half, but it's been more even here in the second half. Bakey Goodman couldn't hook up with Romeo Parks, who had a defender at his back. Now Hugh Roberts ranges over, and a controlled header is on to Thomas Vanke Azil. Upfield he strides. Goodman, right back. And across from Zemansky to Maloney. Riverhounds patient now.
Yeah, they're trying to build and connect a little bit more. As we wanted to see a little bit more of that in the first half, and it seems that's what they're trying to do. They're also, looking for Zemansky and Vanke Azil in those little pockets. So as we see Menjazar and Heineman go up a little bit high, and as they
Franco took it away from Goodman. Yeah. Ranging back to Laban, right outside the 18, and winning the throw was Andrew Laban.
But the Riverhounds are trying to play into those pockets that are behind Heineman and maybe in front of Metzger and Jaime, and when they're able to do that and turn with the ball, then they can do a better job of finding Francois wide, Goodman, and of course the big man Parks up top.
Dennis was felled. One thing I've noticed about referee Pekmich tonight, he has not given many on those up in the air type calls.
No, he's controlled the game very well, and the 2 bookings that he had were deserved.
Appropriate, right? Yeah. Very decisive, very quick with the card as well. No second guessing, no waiting on that. Francois is going to try to take it away from Opoku. 2 speedsters there collide. Penn FC wins that battle. Vanquier-Zil got a foot in. Thomas Vanquier-Zil, a native of France, came over here for college soccer.
Really impressed with Vanquier-Zil's mobility in the midfield and the ground that he can cover. He's going to be a versatile performer for the Riverhounds, and I think the coaching staff has to be very, very happy with his addition.
A triumph of scouting for sure, to pick him out and realize that he could play as extensively as he has. I don't know if they saw him as an every minute of every match performer, but that's what he's been in the USL so far.
And playing 2 huge spots, either in the center of the back line or in the center of the midfield. So
deep one for Dennis. Luban's going to have to try to win that battle, get some help from Roberts, and the Hounds come out of there with it.
So again, another alert one from Luban. Off of that run, and Roberts is there to provide some cover.
Goodman. Far wing side here. It's Kerr into the box. Parks can't get a touch. Spinning out to the near side. Throw in Penn FC. Kevin Kerr hadn't touched the ball in a long time, since the opening minute of this half. Both times he's had it, though, he's been in the clear.
Yeah, been dangerous, like making those runs again, which are vintage Kevin Kerr runs. If he's not getting somewhere, he's going to find another space to receive the ball, and so will keep working until he's in a position to receive it and to do something with it. So he knows where the spaces are. He's going to find the ball. As we see a
corner given away by Venter.
Strange
a
corner.
Shank.
Yeah, that's the old Shankomotamus right there, man.
So the Riverhounds get a gift on what appeared to be an easy clear for Kyle Venter. Kevin Kerr will send it into the mix with the right foot. Kerr back post, Peiser punches,
Peiser,
and
well done
out.
on that box. Came through with his left arm, cleared that one out very well, and like Danny Lynn on the other side, very, very decisive coming through that cross from Kevin, or that corner from Kevin Kerr.
Maloney prevents the Penn FC counterattack. Now Cristiano Francois with a moment to scan his options. Bounces one into the 18. Right near the penalty spot, though, it's scooped up by Franco, and Opoku to Franco. Frederick Opoku, native of Ghana.
So we're seeing, I think Canardo Forbes is warming up. He's ready to come into the game.
And the ball's going to bounce right to him here. He'll get a nice touch before he even checks in. Bakey Goodman's going to come out. Canardo Forbes, the Jamaican native, in the 62nd minute. So the Hounds go to the substitution route first.
And I wonder, you know, Canardo Forbes normally in the spot where Vanquier-Zil is playing, I wonder if he will push a little bit higher and maybe Kerr go out to the left, although he's dropping back right away to the center, or if Canardo Forbes will just stay on that left side where Bakey Goodman was throughout the match. As of right now, it looks like he's staying there.
Canardo Forbes, 29-year-old from Jamaica, 28 appearances last year for the Rochester Rhinos.
As we're trying to get Bakey Goodman's shin guard off the field, which they finally deal with.
Well, that's odd.
That's going to be, that'll be some stoppage time addition.
An extra 5 seconds added on, maybe. Francois through the middle. Kerr won't be able to catch up. For a moment, it looked promising. Francois dropping back there and trying to play setup man, create a chance, as he has often this season. Roberts ahead. There's Zemansky. Fine job to volley pass against Miguel Jaime. Now Jaime slows him down, and Zemansky coughed it up.
But Zemansky right back into the battle.
Indeed he was, committing the foul.
And they're going to call foul.
Richard Menjivar, the veteran midfielder winning that call.
Yeah, but a smart foul. I mean, he's right away. He lost the ball, and that's what you want to see from a player. You lose it, you're right on it immediately. You're not looking for somebody else to deal with your mistake. You get it back right away, and if you have to get a little foul to slow the attack down, that's what he did. Nothing dangerous, and the Riverhounds are back, and they got their shape, and they're organized.
In the final half hour of this one. It sounds like I've said it a lot this year, but does this match contain a goal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the fans here at Highmark Stadium would like to see a couple before this one's over.
Well, preferably, if they had their way, from the men in black tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
The Riverhounds wearing the black alternate uniforms for the first time. First time ever the Riverhounds have worn black. Kerr off the delivery there from Forbes. It's Kevin Kerr slowing it down. Back against the grain. Francois was blocked.
Parks.
Now Parks, Romeo Parks, and a save by Peiser. And what a stop it was, lunging out, and he might be hurt.
Threw his body into it, and I don't know if he got that to his face or what, but point blank. But again, Kevin Kerr finding his space out on that left flank and getting behind.
That was a crafty ball because Penn FC had overrun it, basically. And I believe it was off the face or neck of Peiser.
Yeah, and I like Romeo Parks' touch there. I mean, because he could have just taken a swing at it and tried to hit it first time, but it was clearly, he had no space to go and tried to take an additional touch to get a little bit better angle. Peiser, I think, maybe got the wind knocked out of him a little bit, or he's moving his eyes, so he must have hit that one a little bit his face. But you saw his hands come right out and did really, really well. Textbook goalkeeping from Peiser there. Did very well to close that angle down and make it difficult on Romeo Parks.
Peiser played last year for San Francisco. He was with Ottawa previously. Came out of the Paris Saint-Germain youth program. That was a while ago now, and he's trying to shake it off. He did take that right in the face as raindrops fall at Highmark. He and Tommy Heineman have a chat.
Yeah, and obviously the trainer is trying to make sure that he is good and he is okay, and nothing as far as like concussions or anything like that. But he seems pretty clear and ready to go as he's pointing out directions and trying to get people with their mark, as we see.
Kerr will try it again. Kevin Kerr, and it's off the head of Roberts, who stumbles down. Peiser punches it out to the edge of the attacking third. Volleyed right back in by Luban, and now an attempted side strike by Francois. He didn't get all of it, and cleared the distance. Maloney back to gather for Pittsburgh. So Parks that close. He's had 2 or 3 excellent looks at goal. He wanted to flick that one through to Vunkiazil, making an overlapping run. Instead, it's a Riverhounds throw. Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC, rebranded as such in the offseason. New era here in Pittsburgh with Bob Lilly coaching. USL Hall of Famer. Replacing Dave Brandt, who was in charge for the past 2 seasons. Dan Lind could have called for the fair catch there if it was a different kind of football. He grabbed it with both hands against his chest. So the playing conditions have changed now. I wonder if the ball might be skidding a little more once the moisture settles in on the surface.
A little bit more. I mean, we still see some people without any jackets or anything, so I don't think it's anything that the players are probably even noticed at this point.
Yeah, probably not. They're so locked in here. Kerr handles that nicely from Zemansky. Francois turned one way. Now he sprints the other. Lays it off Maloney. Can he keep it? He will briefly, but not all the way.
He did well to almost save that ball. Not the best ball from Francois. He needs to lead him a little bit more with that. It was a little bit behind. But I think since Conrado Forbes is coming to the game, we see Kevin Kerr pushing a little bit higher and trying to play off Romeo Parks. And so Parks and Francois are a little bit higher with giving Romeo a little bit more support.
Luban missed there. It'll bounce through to Peiser.
He's forcing the back four of Penn FC to really make some decisions because they have to find Kerr. Kerr is very, very mobile and, again, always looking to get in and get behind somebody. He's playing underneath Parks, but he's moving off the ball really well.
Another sub coming up for the Riverhounds. Nico Brett warming up for, 5 goals on the year.
Yeah,
for Brett, leading all the Eastern Conference.
Nico Brett, probably a straight swap for Romeo Parks up front. We will see.
Bob Lilly said in the pregame, it's a home match. We should be taking care of these if we want to finish near the top of the standings or at the top of the standings by the end of the year. And no offense to Penn FC, but it's a team that has struggled to get itself together here in the early going, despite having some great defensive success. Just 7 goals allowed all year for Penn FC. Handful of clean sheets, 4 of them. Riverhounds, the kings of defending in the opening 2 months of this regular season. Nothing on the board so far. It was a scoreless draw the first time between these two, March 31st right here. Already in this one, though, in the opening 70 minutes, better chances to break through, but neither side has. Aaron Dennis gathers at center circle.
And Bob Lilly about to make his second substitution, and so far Penn FC is sticking with their starting 11.
Yes, nothing adjusted from a personnel standpoint for Raul Voss.
I think they're happy with where they're at and how the game is going, Matt. And away from home, they're going to be content to take a point. And if they can sneak one in on that counter, as we talked about, they'll be happy to do that. But right now, they're going to play cautious and make sure that the Riverhounds are not going to get behind.
The task for the Riverhounds is trying to create some quality here once they possess the ball. Zemansky called for the high foot.
High foot.
Up in Menjivar's grill. Richard Menjivar.
Referee gave him a stern look, but he didn't reach for his pocket, which was good.
Probably the right call there. 2 guys battling for the ball. Richard Menjivar played here 3 years ago. Member of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. One of the rare El Salvadorians in this league. He's been around North American Pro Soccer. Here's Opoku, a newcomer. He actually slipped on that wet surface as he tried to bicycle it over his head.
Who do you think he was? Gareth Bale from this afternoon. You know, a little far out though.
Oh, what a goal that was too. That was a nice little warm-up to see.
Zemansky coming in.
That.
So I think.
Yeah, Zemansky is out for Brett.
Zemansky's out. So Canardo Forbes will go where Zemansky is. I think Kevin Kerr looks like he's going to go to the left. Francois to the right, and they're pushing Nico up with Romeo Parks.
An offensive posture for Bob Lilly and the Hounds. They figured one should do it, but getting the one has been difficult tonight. Maloney's throw took a little something off of it. Parks rising up, and now Maloney back in his half of the field. Serves to Hugh Roberts. Roberts has started a couple in a row now. 2 in U.S. Open Cup. That's the call here tonight on the Hounds back line. Forbes and Kevin Kerr. He has Luban with him. He'll give to Luban. Luban's cross right in front. And Calvano heads it clear. Corner kick, Riverhounds on the near side once more. There were some runners for Luban, as you alluded to, Gene.
Yeah, they had something because you know they're pushing Kevin Kerr up. They have Nico and Romeo Parks up really high as strikers.
Kerr trying again. That goes over the top of Roberts, who wanted a foul call, but the Riverhounds still have it from outside the box. Spinning one in as Parks rejected there. Forbes, some fancy footwork to draw it back.
Well done by Forbes.
Out to his countryman Parks. Parks lost command.
And Harrisburg content just to play things safe and knock it out. But as you said, they're really pushing some guys to Kerr out on the right flank now. So they're going to push him up high and almost, really kind of a 4-4-2 with Kerr and Francois wide, and Canardo Forbes and Thomas Vankiazil holding down the center of the midfield. But certainly we have Nico Brett and Romeo Parks.
Another busy night
in
the USL. Referee Peckmich is saying, let's speed it up here to Picer.
Picer will be in no hurry.
Of course not. Why would he?
And it looks like maybe Penn FC is going to make their first substitution. I think pretty soon they just call in a substitute.
These two coaches very active. Voss and Lilly right next to the touchline. Opoku puts it off the back of Pratzner, and did Lynn save that? It looks like he did.
He did.
That's a clutch play, a hidden clutch play to prevent the corner kick.
No, I really liked my Danny Lynn and was able to keep that and secure that one, and Hounds have another attack coming with Canardo Forbes.
Forbes deliberately paced over to Kerr, couldn't get through the defending, and it's off Kerr last, evidently. Kevin jogs back.
Or is that Luban?
Pardon me, that is Luban, yes. Over on that back side of the pitch. It gets a little dark at times. Player identification can be a challenge. Out by the river. Rain continues to fall, not too hard.
Pretty light. I don't think it's affecting anyone, including the spectators.
Folks hanging in here, waiting for a goal. The Hounds have not lost here on their home surface, but they've had 2 scoreless draws. They've won 4-0 here. They've won 1-0. They've won 2-0. And still no goals allowed at home, obviously. In USL play, that is. US Open Cup, it was a different story on Wednesday, of course. Cincinnati got 3.
But as we said,
Penn FC just wants 1.
As we said, that's no longer the focus. The Open Cup is history, and now it's on to the league and remaining scoreless at home and remaining undefeated. And I think that's what the Hounds want to lock down tonight, but they certainly want to try to find a way to get a goal and get 3 points.
They're on a 2-draw streak, are the Hounds. 2-2 last week at Tampa. 0-0 here against Indy 2 weeks ago. Here's the intercept by Forbes, and now Parks, a little too far for Francois. Venter just content to concede the throw here and allow his teammates to catch up. Cristiano Francois. And, well, Vanquiazil was covered tightly, and I don't know if he didn't like the throw coming to that spot, but he lost command. And here's our first substitution for Penn FC. Jorge Rivera for Miguel Jaime. Rivera for Jaime in the 76th. Jorge Rivera scored twice on Wednesday in US Open Cup play, drawing Penn FC even with Richmond. Those were Rivera's first 2 in a Penn FC uniform. 22-year-old Puerto Rican, Jorge Rivera.
Yeah, and played
checks in.
for Puerto Rico FC, I believe, in the NASL also.
Yep, that's correct.
So another player the Hounds are going to have to be careful with and make sure that they pay attention to.
8 caps for the Puerto Rican international team.
Showed a little bit of skill there, breaking the Riverhound pressure.
Now he's sprinting upfield to try to take this one from Opoku, but Roberts will get there, anticipating the play.
Yeah, very good coverage from him. Reading that one, but you can see right away, I think, you know, Coach Voss wants Rivera to push the attack a little bit and really try to bring some fresh legs into this, Matt. They've been working on very hard, chasing the game through most of it. The Riverhounds have dominated possession, and they need to get somebody in there as Opoku puts that one to Danny Lynn.
Just on one hop. If you're looking for Rivera, he's got the pink boots on. It's an easy tell, and right into the action is number 11 for Penn FC, trying to work with Opoku there. But this is Thomas Vanquiazil of the Riverhounds, and here's Canardo Forbes. Riverhounds have won the Keystone Derby Cup 2 of the first 3 years.
Romeo Parks trying to make that little turn there that he succeeded with a few times in the first half, but Cavano had him sorted out that time and was able to win that one.
Less opportunity for Parks in the second half.
Yeah, they haven't, you know, he hasn't seen it as much as I'm sure that he would want, and And I think that's why they're looking for Nico Brett in there, and that's not a good one from Francois.
Francois has struggled with the distribution today, and a through ball here to Heineman. Gets past Pratzner. There's the foul.
But
against Heineman, pardon me.
You can see when Heineman gets it, he's pretty much 1-on-4, and you know, Penn FC is very they're staying patient, and I think that's why they brought Rivera into the game, maybe to try to get up a little bit higher and give Heineman some support. Okoku's going to do it out here on the left flank, but he stayed left flank, and they're going to stay very compacted with their two lines. And as I said, they're going to sit deep. They're going to try to absorb some of that stuff, and can they catch us quickly? Can they catch the Riverhounds quickly? That's what they're going to, off the counter attack. I think that's what they're looking for.
It's been nearly 3 years since the miracle on the Mon. Here's a through ball, one of the heroes from that night. Kevin Kerr inside the line, back across. Parks is going to have to catch up to it. To Forbes, Penn FC recovers a bit. It's Francois trying to chase it down, and that goes by the boards for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well-timed pass into Kevin Kerr, and again now Kevin Kerr on the right side trying to make those runs. We're looking for those spots all the time. They were able to find them. Good little roll back from Kevin. We just were not able. Riverhounds were not able to get off a shot. And again, Penn FC got to give
great
credit.
Ball from Forbes.
Lubon
in front and just away from Brett, making the run.
We'd like to see a little bit more from that from Lubon. I mean, with crew, with Kerr, Connor Maloney, getting those guys out in the flanks and really pushing it. We've been dangerous in those areas, and can we, you know, hopefully Parks or Brett can get on the end of one.
I mentioned the miracle on the Mon. For those unfamiliar, the Riverhounds trailed 3-0 at the half, 4-2 and 5-3 into the final 5 minutes of the match. Ended up pulling out a 6-5 victory here. That was May the 30th, 2015. Kevin Kerr scored the winner against this club.
Certainly, with that game and DC United Open Cup, two of the most exciting nights here at Highmark Stadium.
15 was fun, and this season has some serious promise too. In a different way, though. That Riverhounds team in 15 scored a lot and they gave up a lot. They made the playoffs, of course. Last time they did was in 15. Substitution for Penn FC. Saleh Mohammed in for Aaron Dennis. That's an 81st minute change. Mohammed wearing number 99.
Another guy that played for the San Francisco Deltas.
Californian, 22 years old. Coming off an Achilles tear in the off-season. But here is Mohammed putting that leg to test.
I think he got a corner out
couldn't get that in front, but it will be a goal kick for Pittsburgh, right? It appeared that for a moment it was off Lubon's leg last, but not the call from the assistant referee, Gregory Irwin, over on the river side of the field. 82nd minute. It's getting a little ragged lately.
Yeah.
And that's good news if you want to see a goal, but both teams are trying to lock it down. This is when every little play is magnified. Forbes with the takeaway. Played it behind Parks, who recovered, but then chipped it away right into Menjivar's grasp. Mohammed, look at him go. Saleh Mohammed plays it square here to Opoku. His cross right back, and it's against the grain and taken away by Lubon. Menjivar off the post. Richard Menjivar inches away from putting Penn FC ahead in the 83rd.
He struck that. I don't know if Danny Lynn got a hand on it, but the post certainly is. The post saved him, that's for sure. He's going to.
He did get a hand. That's a save.
A little finger on that one. Yeah, well done from Danny Lynn. Save of the match right now.
Lynn's had a couple. One in the first half on Dennis, one here in the second half on Menjivar. That's your classic opportunistic chance as the ball just bounces out to you. And Menjivar did about as well as you could expect. He probably thought that was in about halfway to the net. Here is the corner kick, though, up in the air. And Heineman just couldn't knot it down and ended up
looking for
bouncing up.
As you say, you know, Lynn, Heineman got, I think he got clocked there in some type of collision, and he's going down for a while.
He's feeling it inside the Riverhounds 6. So play is halted.
Waving the Penn FC trainer out.
And Dan Lind will take the opportunity to chat with Bob Lilly here. Lilly ditched the jacket from Wednesday night, so he's in summer mode. Raul Voss giving instructions here to Kyle Venter right in front of the Penn FC bench.
And Heineman really rubbing his head. I mean, you know, some kind of collision. I don't know if somebody caught him at somewhere with an elbow, or he went head to head. It was hard to see. There was a crowd in there. It wasn't Danny Lynn who stayed on his line to catch the header, but Heineman looks like he's coming up, and
he's at least sitting up. It's the second time that Penn FC's athletic trainers had to take a look at a guy presumably for a head injury.
As you see the rain coming down here at Highmark Stadium.
Can catch it through the lights. It appears to be getting a little heavier now. We didn't expect much by way of rain tonight. Not a washout by any means, but it's chased some of the fans now under cover. We're, of course, perfectly dry in the commentary booth at Highmark Stadium. Here's Heineman coming off. Before we get back to action, I'd like to remind you that the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, game updates, and highlights. Great on a night like tonight. Saturday night in the USL. Follow @USL on Twitter.
It looks like Joe Holland might be coming on as another substitution for Pittsburgh.
Hugh Roberts, Todd Pratzner. That'll tack on a couple of minutes here to the second half. Well, there are two injury situations that have occurred here with Peiser, the Penn FC keeper, and now the striker Heineman.
Heineman back on.
Thiago Calvano also took a knock. Lest we forget, that was back in the first half. Deep ball here. Hounds looking for something. Brett is going to get on the end of it, but he can't keep it in play. And as you call, Gene, Joe Holland's coming in. He's checked in with the fourth official, Taylor Bombalski, ready to extend the numerical sign overhead. Holland taking the place
of Connor Maloney.
Yeah, Maloney, the wing back out. Holland, the midfielder, in.
Joe Holland. Number 12, Connor Maloney.
87th minute's up. We're getting down to it. Maloney, strong work in his first Hounds appearance this season, I'd say.
Again, we talked about his versatility. They're going to put Thomas Vankiazil back to the right back spot and move Joe Holland into the center mid with Canardo Forbes.
Roberts took that aerial duel, and now Lubon, well, he couldn't control that bouncing ball in the end. Some adjustments here in the second half. Personnel and players moving around as a result for Bob Lilly's 11.
Yeah, and the biggest tactical adjustment we've seen, Matt, is again, Pittsburgh going to a 4-4-2 and trying to put Nico Brett and Romeo Parks, seeing if they can click up top and put a little pressure on. And I don't, there hasn't been enough service into those areas for either Nico or I think Romeo to really generate anything. So they lost a little bit of spark maybe in the midfield.
That ball was handled by Joe Holland.
Which is maybe why he put Holland, they put Holland in there for the last couple of minutes to see, because we know that Holland has a terrific serve. He can deliver and has a good range of passing, and maybe he can find one of those two up high and get it behind the very well-organized Penn FC back four.
Saleh Mohammed charging after Lubon down that right flank for Penn FC, but unsuccessfully so. Holland comes out of a pack with it, and a little bit of trouble coming into this match. He mishandled, but then Heineman couldn't play it by him. So Holland recovers. after a nervous second or two. He fights with it with Metzger, does Holland. And the Riverhounds come out of the pack in possession of the ball. Parks with some room. Parks turns upfield. Sends it across low. Cleared up, but not all the way out. Holland. And Forbes halting now. To the near wing. Cristiano Francois. Working into the box. Dropped it back, but no one's there for Pittsburgh. Heineman, though, gave it right back to Roberts. The Riverhounds trying to swarm this ball. Francois couldn't get there in time. Opoku volleyed it toward the middle. Here's Francois. That was handled. No, it was not.
No call.
I thought I heard a whistle. It might have come from the crowd.
Everyone stopped, too. It's like,
that was part of it, too. I just assumed that
play got a little,
the whistle had blown.
A little ragged and some poor giveaways from uncharacteristic from Penn FC.
Brett shielded off there.
One-touch balls.
And now one of the Penn FC players has fallen. And, well, let's just say the home crowd doesn't buy it.
Yeah,
the injury, apparently, here.
Yeah, that little...
it's Calvano.
Calvano, yeah. And the good old Steel Army is not real happy with that one. Have to see that one a little bit again.
The referee, Pekmich, is barking at Romo Peiser, Penn FC keeper. Calvano's up, by the way. And Peiser punted that ball into the stands on the near side. You probably saw on your device screen. Maybe that's what the talking to was about. Calvano is at least making a motion like he was perhaps elbowed or shouldered in the face.
Yeah, I mean, didn't see anything. I mean, how often do you see embellishment from a defender? You know,
that's a good point.
It's usually the other way around, obviously, with a forward trying to draw a foul. And then you see the defender trying to draw a foul, so I'm not sure.
Well, in the traditions of the game, the Hounds will give it back to Penn FC on the restart here on the throw. Ramu Peiser hammers it skyward. Roberts again, he's racking up the head ball wins. We're going to add 4 minutes to this second half. Give these teams a chance to get at least one goal on the board. We are in the 91st minute now. Parks trying to run the gauntlet, but he committed the foul either way, or maybe even handled the ball as it bounced up.
Yeah, and really Penn FC a little stretched out the last few minutes. I don't know if they'd be real happy with that at this particular point. They don't want to concede anything, but they really, you know, and maybe they're trying to say, okay, we got 4 minutes, let's try to steal 3 points by pushing a couple guys, and it looks like Poku's going to come out.
Jerry Ortiz is in.
Jerry Ortiz for Freddie Opoku.
Ortiz, one of the newest signees on this Penn FC team. This is his 6th appearance. Joined midway through. There's the announcement on stoppage time. Of course, if you're watching with us, you already knew that. Here on ESPN Plus, I'm Matt Geica with Gene Klein. A 0-0 game for the second straight matchup in this Keystone Derby Cup. Could be finishing that way. It's likely it's going to finish that way, but it's not over yet. Holland right back, and a bounding ball handled by Pratzner on a couple of touches. Todd Pratzner plays it safe to Dan Lynn back there outside of his 18. Lynn ripping ahead. Right at the middle of the field. Headed clear by Hawkins, but the Riverhounds will hop on it.
Yeah, good step in by Roberts to clean that up, and the Riverhounds have a little bit of tackling here.
Holland to Kerr. Is there some Kevin Kerr magic against this club? We've seen it so often over the years. Into the box. Nico Brett. 5 goals on the year. Brett probing and passed it right by. Kevin Kerr was waiting for it.
And what is it?
But Penn FC gives it right back.
I saw a stat with Kevin Kerr, like maybe 1/3 of his goals have come against Harrisburg.
Yeah, it's close to that. Kerr back heel flick. Nearly generated one for Forbes.
Shot.
Holland. Save. Peiser. Rebound. Oh my.
That is
Parks
one
missed.
That, you know, and Romeo Parks just has to get the big surface of his foot and just put that on goal. And it looks like he struck it with the outside of his boot and it went wide.
Peiser was down and out.
Great strike there from Holland. I mean, a tough one coming right out, but just try to get something on. Look at that creativity from Kerr to Canardo Forbes. Great shot there. Pizer did not put that one back wide, which you don't want to see. You don't want to see your keeper spill that one back out front for those rebounds. But maybe a little bit too much pace for Parks. Just couldn't get his feet right and put that on. But that's going to be one that
that reminds me of the opening match between these two teams. Parks had 2 or 3 like that. That one wasn't quite the sitter that he had in the opening match that he missed wide to the left, but this time wide right.
Yeah, that's one. As I said, that's going to be one that's going to haunt them, especially when Bob really breaks down the video. Tough one. You know, it bounced off really quick and just really tough in that situation to get your feet lined up quick enough and put that one in.
So maybe one more chance. Thomas Vanke Aziel, can he generate? Holland, who took that initial shot that led to the Parks chance. Joe Holland has a good foot, right through. Brett!
Oh,
he scored! The flag is up!
Flag is up.
The flag is up. It is not a goal.
Yeah.
And that's full time. Wow, the Hounds that close. Holland is screaming at the assistant referee here on the near side of the field. Oh, I thought I heard the full-time whistle. No, I did not. No. Pardon me. I thought I heard multiple whistles. It was maybe just the referee trying to get everyone's attention.
He has to book Nico Brett because Nico took his shirt off.
He did. He thought he had the winner. Did Nico Brett?
Thought he had the winner in 3 points, and
that would have been something. That was close. I know that
from
much.
Our angle,
the smoke bombs have gone off in the Steel Army too.
Yeah.
They thought it was in. Brett is given the card for
that would have been
unsportsmanlike.
a terrific, dramatic ending. But it's not to be.
Well, we're past the 94th minute.
So it's always a minimum 4.
That's right. It's not guaranteed to end.
But I got to think he's going to blow the whistle shortly after this.
And he will.
Yep.
The final whistle for Ismir Pekmic, and anger in the crowd, confusion in the crowd. Here at Highmark Stadium, the thought was that the Hounds had pulled out 3 points at the horn. Parks had a great crack on the rebound, and just moments later on the through ball, apparently Nico Brett offside. I'd love to take a look at that one later this evening to see just how close it was. Maybe we'll get a chance when we come back from this final break on the broadcast. Matt Geika with Gene Klein will step aside and go over what we just watched. No goals, but, well, plenty at the end to discuss. Keep it right here on ESPN+.
Through the years, you've done right by investing in your home. And now, you can use that equity to borrow money for the things you need. With a low 1.99% APR and no fees, you can apply for a home equity loan online and use the money to upgrade to that minivan, make home improvements, or finance college. At Clearview, we can help you find ways to use the equity in your home for more important things. Let us help. Visit us online for more information. Clearview Federal Credit Union, the next generation of personal banking.
It's a new era unleashed at Highmark Stadium, and the Riverhounds are off to their hottest start in team history. May 30th is our annual Military Appreciation Night, when the Hounds battle Nashville SC for a special Wednesday night match at 7 p.m. at Highmark Stadium. Active military and veterans can call 412-865-GO and purchase discounted tickets. Visit riverhounds.com for more information.
I developed some postpartum depression. I noticed that, I wasn't connecting with my daughter as much. I didn't want people to judge me for this.
I'm on the green couch because my wife did not survive her battle with postpartum depression. That's why I work with HN and Highmark, and we're building a safe place for new moms so that other moms like you can find their joy.
Hope for families struggling with postpartum depression is at Allegheny Health Network.
A wild finish in Pittsburgh, but the Steel Army and pretty much everyone here at Highmark Stadium disappointed that the Hounds could not nick a goal there in stoppage time. So it ends 0-0, just like the first matchup did between these two teams. The Keystone Derby Cup is going to come down to who can get the most points out of that final matchup later in the season. Matt Geica with Gene Klein here in the Steel City. Let's look at some highlights from this match. And the action picked up gradually as we worked our way deeper into the evening. This back in the first half. Andrew Lubon, getting the start here and impressing in the early going. And on the other wing, Connor Maloney, an early chance. Right, so the wingback's active for the Hounds. Kerr's corner, and Hugh Roberts, that's going to be about as good of a look as he's going to find this year off of a restart. Couldn't direct it home.
And there, that was a corner by Penn FC, as we see Romeo Parks getting away, and Pizer putting that back, and Kevin Kerr couldn't handle that rebound. So we've seen 2 rebounds that have come off, one to Kerr and one to Parks, that just were not, just couldn't really handle them with the pace and the velocity they came off the keeper.
Dan Lynn challenged. You saw him there guarding the near post as Aaron Dennis whiffed, but they're reaching out to grab it, and here's arguably, well, one of his 2 great saves tonight. That's an awesome one on Dennis to try to chip him.
And he just got his left hand out there to be able to get that, and here's a clearance that went off Tommy Heineman, but then it was cleared away by the Riverhounds.
And nearly keeping this one in here was Medjavar. As it turned out, it rolled into touch. Riverhounds chances late.
Towards the end.
Parks pulling it. Yeah, good poise there.
Big save by Pizer.
Ramu Pizer, excellent.
And that's the one that Danny Lynn just probably got a fingernail on. Yep, and was able to deflect that off the post. So just a terrific save. And there's the one that's called back. Nico Brett thought he had the game winner, but the flag was up.
Reminiscent of a couple of matches that have ended that way here. I recall the home opener 3 years ago against Wilmington. That was almost eerie the way these two have played out. 13-4 shots in favor of the Riverhounds. So the quantity was there, just not that finishing touch. Possession tilted back toward Penn FC in the second half.
It did a little bit, Matt. I think Penn FC took a little bit more chances in the second half. They, even though they were sitting back a little bit deep, they had their moments where, you know, some stretches of the game, 5-10 minutes, where they had the ball and put the Riverhounds under a little bit of pressure and looked to try to steal the win here. But for the most part, they stayed cautious. The Riverhounds were not able to break them down. The best chances again were some that were served into Parks early in the first half. He was handled a little bit better by Penn FC in the second, and the best chances came really from our flanks.
Well, if you're a Hounds fan and you didn't like the result tonight, don't worry, your team's going to be right back at it on Wednesday against Nashville SC. Pardon me, Nashville making its first ever trip in to Pittsburgh. There you see a signature of the Bob Lilly era, Gene Klein, a long team talk on the field after the match. We'll be on at 7, by the way, on Wednesday. He wants to get his message across right away, it seems like.
Yeah, he does. That's not, yeah, that's pretty unusual, but he wants to get it clear while they're still fresh and they're listening, and say, hey, let's get ready for the next one. We got a big one coming up Wednesday with Nashville.
One of the more active coaches on the sideline, and as you see there in the middle of the field too. For Raul Voss and Penn FC, well, they have their 5th draw of the season. Not going to help them climb the standings that much, but I'm sure they're okay with a draw on the road here and push that decisive game back to later in the year.
They're probably a little more happy with the point than Bob Lilly is right now.
I would say so. So the Hounds can't come up with a win at home. They're now 4-0-6. Like we said, we'll be back on the air. Myself, Gene Klein, and Paul Child on Wednesday night. Thanks for watching. Keystone Derby Cup finishes scoreless in Pittsburgh. Good night.
Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.